Government applies tax-free import for 26 medical items. As international domestic sales increased by 44.17%. Good evening, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from business, economic, and capital market channel or capital market sectors. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions, such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. With me, Wicky Adrian, this is Market Headlines. To overcome COVID-19 medical supply shortage, government applies tax-free import for 26 medical items, including oxygen and PCR test kits imports.
Skyrocketing COVID-19 cases has caused a shortage of medical items used to handle COVID-19 patients. Therefore, the Minister of Finance, Sri Mulyani Indrawati, issued a regulation that exempted import taxes of some medical supplies to support the current needs. This is part of Minister of Finance regulations concerning the provisions of customs and excise facilities and taxations on imports for the purpose of handling the coronavirus disease pandemic. This regulations comes into force on July 12, 2021. These medical supplies that are free from tax including oxygen, isotanks, medicines, PCR test kits, swab test kits, thermometer, up to early protective equipment such as medical masks. In total, there are 26 medical supplies that are exempted from import duty, excise, import value-added taxes, sales tax on luxury good, and tax income. And to obtain the customs, excise, and tax facilities in the context of imports, the importer can apply through the head of the Customs and Excise Office. IDX Channel reported.
Government encourages tax reformation to support national taxation efficiency. According to Finance Minister, taxation must be dynamic as key to face tangling global economy and support national economy. To keep up with volatile economic condition, the tax reforms is urgently needed. In the commemoration of Tax Day, Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati currently the most visible plan so far is to revise law on general provisions and taxation procedures.
Sistem perpajakan kita harus terus kita desain dan redesign, terus diperkuat di dalam konteks perubahan global dan perubahan di dalam negeri. Perubahan global yang kita lihat, selain teknologi digital yang makin mendominasi, juga ancaman-ancaman baru seperti perubahan iklim yang harus kita respon secara tepat. Di dalam negeri kita juga melihat teknologi digital mengubah cara masyarakat berinteraksi dan
Government's plan to extend emergency COVID-19 restriction is understandable, economic observer. But then economic observer also underlines that it must be followed by adequate social assistance.
Economic observer from IndiHome, Ahmad Heri Firdaus, assessed that the discourse on extending the emergency COVID-19 restrictions is also expected to take into account the speed of social assistance distributions. It is because the emergency COVID-19 restrictions has significant impact to the workers with daily wage or without fixed income.
Pendapatan harian tentunya mereka yang paling terlebih dahulu terkena dampak langsung dari adanya PPKM. Nah, oleh sebab itu pemerintah harus mempersiapkan bagaimana caranya agar bisa membantu ya para pekerja yang terutama bagi mereka yang mengandalkan pendapatan harian seperti itu, karena mereka lah yang terkena dampak langsung terlebih dahulu. Jadi apakah misalnya dengan bantuan atau dengan program-program bantuan sosial yang langsung disalurkan bagi para pekerja di sektor informal atau masyarakat golongan bawah, nah inilah harus direalisasikan.
The government has previously prepared social assistance budget, which was added during the emergency COVID-19 restrictions. Social assistance fund in the National Economic Recovery Program reached around 153.86 trillion rupiah. Until last June 30th, the realizations of this program has reached around 66.43 trillion rupiah. Jakarta, Rahajo Pakmo for IDX Channel.
And moving on to the global update, U.S. Senate Democrats agreed on a $3.5 trillion infrastructure investment plan. While from Australia, Sydney Airport Holdings Ltd rejects a $16.6 billion takeover proposal from a group of infrastructure funds. More stories on today's International Minute.
U.S. President Joe Biden's drive for big new infrastructure investment just got a boost on Tuesday when leading Senate Democrats agreed on a $3.5 trillion investment plan. This bill would finance rebuilding of roads, bridges, and other traditional infrastructure, as well as expand broadband internet service to many rural parts of the United States. South Korea reported 1,600 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday, a slight drop from the current record number of a previous day. The country tightened social distancing rules across the most of the countries when it reported a record number of 1,615 infections to tackle its worst ever outbreak of the coronavirus. Outbreaks had previously been largely centered in the capital Seoul and neighboring countries. But cases have spread to non-metropolitan areas, adding to worries about a highly contagious Delta variant and slowing vaccine rollout. So far, only 30.8% of its 52 million people have received at least one dose of a vaccine. Apple will continue to expand beyond traditional technology projects with a new feature the company is internally calling Apple Pay Later. With Apple Pay Later, users making either retail or non-line purchases with Apple Pay will have the option to paying over time rather than entirely upfront. Customers will not need an Apple Card, which the company recently launched a credit card service to take advantage of Apple Pay Later. Apple will offer two payment options. The Apple Pay monthly installments will allow users to pay off a loan with interest in monthly installments, while Apple Pay in 4 will let users pay for purchases with 4 interest-free payments due vary 2 weeks. Sydney Airport Holdings Ltd said it will reject a $16.6 billion takeover proposal from a group of infrastructure funds, the biggest of a frenzy Australian deals in reactions to record low interest rates. The operator of Australia's largest airport said directors had clearly concluded that the proposal undervalued the airport and was not in the best interest of shareholders. And successful, it would have been one of Australia's biggest buyouts. BlackRock Incorporated, the world's largest asset manager, reported a better-than-expected quarterly profit as investors poured more money into the company funds, driving robust free growth and boosting its assets under management to a record high. The world's largest asset management once again hit the record asset under management levels, reaching $9.49 trillion in total asset under management and $3 trillion in ETF assets. IDX Channel reported.
Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm Associate Producer and News Presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion.
Pemerintah Indonesia melalui Kementerian Koordinator Bidang Perekonomian Erlangga Hartarto menyiapkan sejumlah cara untuk meningkatkan peran UMKM di pasar internasional.
Jaga tren ini dan memacu peningkatan ekspor, termasuk mendorong penciptaan eksportir baru dari kalangan pelaku usaha menengah kecil dan mikro.
Pemerintah akan mempercepat realisasi bansos dengan memberikan bansos selama 3 bulan ke depan.
Welcome back. Indonesia has lost its upper middle income status after only a year as coronavirus outbreak reserves gains in poverty and employment.
Indonesia has lost its prized upper middle income status after only a year as Southeast Asia's largest coronavirus outbreak reverses gains in poverty and employment. The World Bank downgraded Indonesia to lower middle income status as of July 1st with a gross national income per capita of $3,870. The country had graduated to upper middle income status last year with a GNI per capita of $4,050, its first time in that band since rankings going back to 1988. Regarding this, Fiscal Policy Chief Febrio Kacaribu said in a statement, the pandemic has created negative economic growth in almost all countries, including Indonesia in 2020. Thus, the decline in Indonesia's per capita income is an unavoidable consequence. Gross domestic product shrank 2.1% last year as the economy endured its first recession since the Asian financial crisis more than 20 years ago. IDX Channel reports.
Yes, in the midst of a pandemic, Indonesia must be willing to let go of its upper middle income status. What actually caused Indonesia's income class dropped? Let's examine it further in these following infographics. The first one is Indonesia's gross national income. In 2019, Indonesia's gross national income was on the level of $4,050 per capita. And in 2020, it was decreased significantly to the level of $3,870 per capita. The World Bank downgraded Indonesia to lower middle income status with a gross national income per capita of $3,870. The country had graduated the upper middle income status last year with a GNI per capita of $4,050. its first time in that band since ranking going back to 1988. And not only Indonesia, several other countries have also experienced a decline in classification. Indonesia, along with Belize, Iran, and Samoa, have fallen from a high middle-income country to a low middle-income country. And before discussing the causes of the decline in Indonesia's national income, let's first look at the classification of state income based on World Bank standard. And let's see the data directly. This is country classification based on gross national income. High income country will be classified as that high income country if the gross national income more than $12,696 per capita. Meantime, for the country that classified as upper middle income country, the gross national income in the range of $4,096 to $12,695 per capita. Meantime, the lower middle income country with the gross national income in the range of $1,046 to $4,095 per capita. Meantime, the country that is included to the lower income country with the gross national income less than $1,045. We compiled the data from World Bank. The World Bank changes the GNI per capita classification every year to determine the ranking of each country. The classification changes because in each country, factors such as economic growth, inflation, exchange rates, and population growth affect the GNI per capita. For information, Indonesia lags behind Thailand and Malaysia, which are already included in the high middle income group. This year, Indonesia is in the same group as the Philippines, Laos, Vietnam, Timor-Leste, Cambodia, and Myanmar as low middle income countries. Meanwhile, Singapore and Brunei Darussalam are categorized as high income countries. So what causes Indonesia to experience a decline in income class? Let's check it through the next graphic. The first one is the economy is down as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Indonesia people's income is declining, of course, and GNI per capita in the previous year at the lower limit. Indonesia's decline to become a low middle income country cannot be separated from the slump in the Indonesian economy due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic since March 2020. In fact, based on the draft National Medium-Term Development Plan, the government projects that Indonesia's GNI will reach around $4,300 per capita in 2020. And however, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, national economic growth in 2020 actually contracted to 2.07%. Then, what the impacts of this income class downgrading? Let's check it through the next graphic. These are the list of the impact of the country's income class downgraded by World Bank. The first one is can reduce foreign investment interests and reduce financial support from the World Bank and other countries, weakening economic and business competitiveness, and affecting foreign debt interest. Indonesia's status as a low middle income country has an impact on two sides. There is a positive impact for Indonesia. One of them is generalized system of preferences from the United States. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Indonesia will be less attractive in terms of investment because it is considered not to be an investment destination country with a safe risk profile. This is also estimated to have an impact on the achievement of Indonesia's target of becoming a developed country in 2045 with a GDP of $24,000 per capita. And even though Indonesia is downgraded from the GNI side, hopefully this will not be a barrier for Indonesia to continue to strive to become a developed country in the following years. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.
Awali hari Anda dengan beragam informasi bisnis terkini yang kami kemas dalam berita teraktual dan berkualitas. News Screen Morning menyajikan informasi ekonomi, bisnis, dan keuangan. News Screen Evening mengulas seputar ekonomi makro dan mikro, fiskal, moneter, dan sektorial Indonesia. Market Headline menayangkan berita ekonomi dan bisnis dalam bahasa Inggris.
Indonesia receive...
Saksikan program-program berita ekonomi dan bisnis terkini langsung dari sumbernya, live hanya di IDX Channel. Your Trustworthy Economic, Business, and Capital Market Channel.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm Associate Producer and News Presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Pesan digital diprediksi masih menghadapi potensi gulung tikar hingga akhir tahun 2021.
Analisanya mengenai hal ini seperti apa, Pak Andito?
Ini haruslah punya perspektif yang ke sana, melihat yang jangka panjang. Nah,
And we're on the last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. Earlier today, JCI was opened at the level of 5,986.65, and approaching the closing time of the session, the index was on the level of 6,026.91. Then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,046.75. In short, JCI went down 1.13%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got industry as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 2.07%. Finance went up 1.81%, and we got transportation and logistic as the leader of the weakening trend. It went down 0.14%, and basic sector went down 0.06%. Moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. BBRI went up 2.7% to a level of 3,810 per share. Arto went up 3.78% to the level of 15,100 per share. Telkom went up 2.29% to the level of 3,130 rupiah per share. And Antam went up 0.77% to the level of 2,610 per share. Meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got KF went down 2% to the level of 3,430 rupiah per share. Agi went down 0.33% to the level of 1,525 rupiah per share. BRMS went down 1.96% to the level of 100 rupiah per share, and LPPF went down 2.24% to the level of 2,180 rupiah per share. And we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,493 rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar, was closed at the level of 14,517. In summary, rupiah went down 0.16%. Astra International has recorded a significant increase in domestic car sales in June 2021. Astra International's domestic sales increased by 44.17% compared to the previous month.
Astra International has recorded a significant increase in domestic car sales in June 2021. During the first semester of 2021, the company's sales were also better than the start of the pandemic last year. Based on data, Astra International's domestic sales increased to 40,910 units in June 2021, up 44.17% compared to the previous month and up 742% compared to June last year. According to Astra International's head of corporate communications, Boy Klana Subroto, the increase in car sales at a wholesale level in June 2021 compared to sales in the previous month was more influenced by the addition of supply to dealers. Total sales in June 2021 for the Toyota brand were 23,387 units, higher than the previous month, with a market share that has increased to 56%. LCGC car sales in June 2021 reached 7,144 units, up from the previous month's position of 5,807 units, with a market share for LCGC down to 70% from 75%. IDX Channel reports.
And by the end of first half of 2021, Ciputra Development recorded 3.5 trillion rupiah marketing sales, of 59.62% of this year target.
Ciputra Development managed to record a significant pre-sales or marketing sales revenue because it has reached 59.62% of the target set this year. Meanwhile, the company obtained marketing sales worth 3.5 trillion until the end of first semester 2021. According to the director of Ciputra Development, Harun Hajari, the company's marketing sales acquisition until June 2021 is equivalent to 59.62% of this year's target set at 5.87 trillion. The realization of marketing sales increased by 89% of an annual basis. Incentives launched by the government at the beginning of the year, when interest rates were at the lowest level in history, were said to be the driver of the increase in the pre-sales figure. As is known, the government provides incentives in the form of value-added tax borne by the government of 100% of the VAT payable on the delivery of landed houses or flats with a maximum selling price of 2 billion rupiah. Meanwhile, Bank Indonesia still maintains its benchmark interest rates at 3.5%. IDX Channel reports.
And step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes big role in current economic situation, and here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. As the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, keep protecting your family by following the health protocols, wearing face masks, keep your distance, and stay away from crowds, and wash your hands through running water. And also continue to support the vaccination program to accelerate the creation of herd immunity. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.